Kevin Spacey film producers defend working with the actor after new sexual assault charges. So I was actually wondering if they were going to make any type of statement about this, but I think they kind of had to. Like, if this was just the old charges against him, as awful as that is, I feel like they might have they might have been able to get away with just...
Which is insane because, like, when you consider that one of the older accusations was about a repeated grooming relationship with someone of the age of, like, what was
14,
it, 12?
It was 14.
One of them started at 12.
So,
like, that's actually insane.
Yep. So I mean, if you're one of these producers and your money is tied up now in this project, all they can do is try to play damage control. But can you imagine being these people? He had 2 movies. I didn't know that thought he had just one. He has 2 movies that are that were at Cannes looking to be sold. But imagine being these producers who are like, we've got a lot of money put into this project, and then these new charges in the UK come out just as they're about to...
What were you thinking?
That's the thing. It's not like these are new allegations. These allegations began, 4 or 5 years ago at this point? But these movies were created... The allegations came out. Nothing was totally settled. His reputation wasn't healed. They then continued to work with him.
Yep.
And now they're like, but we had a lot of money tied up in this.
Like, even if you don't...
just admit that you don't care that you're working with
They selected him during that time.
Yes.
Right?
The interesting part to me is, like, even if you're in the realm of, like, look, here it's innocent until proven guilty. You need to give somebody the right to a fair and expedient trial. Sure, whatever. But in a world where there's, like, millions of actors, I'm looking at it specifically from, like, a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Is his name, where it's apparently less soiled in other countries, is it worth the financial investment to put your money behind somebody like that, when you could get any number of other actors and look for, maybe you get an unknown and look for a breakout performance. You get somebody who's going to, my guess is that they got him at a bargain rate, right?
Yeah.
Like that he's not,
I think that's
he's
what
not charging Kevin Spacey money to do these roles.
I think that's what it was. I think part of it is, like any investment, they must have done some risk analysis and decided, like, they could either weather the storm, or they felt like he was a strong enough draw for audiences that they would come to the movie. And they, in doing so, gambled that whatever legal challenges he faced in the States would result favorably towards their press. And then obviously there's been more allegations since. So, like, I don't have a ton of sympathy for them if they feel like this is, like, unfair to their production. At the same time, like, I can understand that.
Thank you.
I can understand that they. I lost my train of thought. Man, that's so distracting.
That's the best part now. Yes.
I think
we are going to train everybody here to not lose their train of thought when a bunch of money comes flying at your head.
Well, all I was going to say was just, like, I don't really, like, I think it's a business decision, and basically, like, it was a poor business decision. I think they could have gotten someone else, some B-list celebrity, someone who was maybe not. It's the same thing, like, if you pick an actor who's not well known, you make this gamble all the time that they're not going to have anything negative come out, that their other projects are going to be popular and therefore benefit your movie. And I think it was just, like, I can't believe he had 2 movies out
both
right now.
of them that
seems like
a
weird calculation.
Both of them seeming to be for foreign markets, as we discussed yesterday, where they're
Don't the plots have strange correlations with his actual life?
One of them did, for sure.
One of
totally
them was
like
he was a background character in one of them, but it was, like, about someone wrongfully accused.
Yeah,
of
that was
abusing
the other
children.
one.
It's, like, odd.
Yeah, so it says, so I'm just going to go through their quotes here. It says, well, it's an, quote, well, it's unfortunate that the increased negative press is timed with Kevin's returning to work. It's also expected, the producer said in a statement received by The Hollywood Reporter. There are those who wish for him not to act, but they are outnumbered by fans worldwide who await an artist they have enjoyed for decades returning to the screen, the statement continued. So if they're saying that, and it's not BS, they must have some type of analytics that tell them that people in other countries are less squeamish about what he's done, or maybe
that
the news just
never really made it over there. That's probably more likely.
So they must have a certain amount of data that backs up that concept. I watched the trailer for Peter 5'8", and it's really weird because it's like he's totally, like, aggressing. He's like an aggressor. He's like it's like a hitman or something like that. You see him with a sniper rifle and everything like that. And all his interactions are kind of, like, very menacing and violent. And it's
that
really
weirdly correlates with his real life too.
Yeah,
kind
like
of.
I thought that was interesting. It says the new film marks a return for Spacey, who was effectively canceled from his acting career after facing allegations from several individuals, including Star Trek Discovery star Anthony Rapp. We talked about that yesterday. But they also, I like how they point this out here. They say Spacey also came out as gay for the first time. The case remains ongoing. Remember when he was like,
I decided to live my life as a gay man.
like
Look over there.
That was
Yeah,
the exact
that's-
quote on the tweet.
That's exactly what it
Upon
was.
reflection, I've decided to live my life as a gay man.
So it says now Spacey is facing 4 criminal charges. I just lost my train of thought there. Is facing 4 criminal charges.
You can't lose your
of
train of
se-
thought if
I
there's
know.
no money gun.
Four
It's, like, not even
new
worth it.
counts.
Of yes, so there's
Of-
4 new counts of sexual assault involving 3 different men between 25 and 2013 in the United Kingdom. The charges have come after a police investigation, and there it says we talked about Rosemary Ainsley. She's the head of the CPS out there. Said the Crown prosecution reminds all concerned that criminal proceedings against Mr. Depp are active and that he has a right to a fair trial. Fine, but it says
You
the
said Mr. Depp. Do you mean Spacey?
Did I say Mr. Depp? Mr. Spacey. Well, Mr. Depp has a right to a fair trial.
We'll
as
get
well.
there later, Brett.
We will, yes. The producers of Peter 5.8 echoed those sentiments in their statement, noting the production has no knowledge or comment on the various swirling allegations and believe it's a matter for the courts to determine validity if it exists. Like, that is a very, very business-like tone for people that are going to have to deal with a whole
Right.
lot of
And
pushback.
It's like this weird game. Like, no. So, like, if somehow Kevin Spacey gets cleared of all these charges and allegations, they will have gotten him at a low cost and possibly make a lot of money off of people being like, oh, we were anti Kevin Spacey, but it turns out he's okay, so now we can watch his movies. Like, they'll have worked with him in a time when he was, arguably probably affordable to them. Again, that is a weird, it's just a gamble that I don't think I would be willing to take with my exactly zero experience in the film industry.
Yes. It says they concluded with their statement by emphasizing that Peter 5.8 is a film for fans who care more about the art than the scandal. It's
above scandal.
Yeah,
They're above
You
child
see,
molestation.
like, how disillusioned I am.
I don't know how I feel about all of it. Like, I was watching because, like I said, I can't prove that he did or didn't do these things, but I'm looking at what I think about it, and I'm imagining being the people working in this movie with them, and they're just like was he hired first? Did they come and they're like, by the way, you're going to work with Kevin Spacey, and they're like, crap, I signed my contract
no.
already. Like,
Do you think that
I don't know.
that would happen?
It would be fascinating to find out the hiring process behind these movies. Like, did they sign on knowing that Kevin Spacey was going to be in the movie, or did Kevin Spacey get sprung on them first day of like screen testing? They're like, by the way, here's the guy you're going to be working opposite, and like Kevin Spacey walks in the room, and
They
all
hired Kevin Spacey and then started writing a movie around him.
That's
yeah,
even
the
scarier.
first time that we talked about this, I thought that they were going to be like, it's being produced by Kevin Spacey's production company. Like, I kind of assumed he could cast himself in a movie that he had written for himself.
He's got lots of like civil suits against him right now, which is like the number one question I had when all this stuff started coming out. I was like, why would he want to work? Like, what? I mean, I have a really
An addiction to attention.
I kind of like have like a
Also,
fascination.
like, does he have anything else in his life?
I have a
No.
fascination with these types of things, with people who get in the public eye, then get their lives kind of shattered by the accusations, whether innocent or guilty. Whether he is or isn't, that is irrelevant to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, the people who have this happen to them, but then continue to work in the public eye. There's got to be like, for the people who have enough money and don't need to but choose to, I wonder if that is kind of like the human, there's just that human inclination that you kind of have to have a purpose, and you can't wallow forever. Now, we're not saying whether they're guilty or innocent. I'm just saying that need to be productive and do things persists.
Yeah.
But it's like, how is your purpose just attaining attention for yourself no matter the cost?
Yeah, he
That's
could be
no
doing-
purpose to live.
With his money, he could be doing any number of things behind the scenes that would still give him.
Or not related to acting. He could
Yeah.
invest in whatever in
He
the
can do
world he
whatever
wants to.
but why does it have to be
But I think that that's like a personality trait. Like, if he
something
has like
self-aggrandizing?
Yeah.
a insatiable need for affirmation and attention through exterior sources, like
Johnny Depp.
Ouch! We'll get to that. Like you said
We
earlier,
will.
we will get to that.
the other part is like he has repeatedly tried to stage his comeback. Do you remember when he released those videos that was sort of Frank Underwood in tone?
Yeah,
on
at the
YouTube?
fireplace.
Yeah.
Like, he was never
Yep.
he was never willing to relinquish acting.
And that's just like bold-faced provocation. like that video in particular, he knew exactly how that would be received.
Yep. And then did you see this stuff about Marilyn Manson dismissed a suit? A judge dismissed a suit against Marilyn Manson. I almost made it sound like Marilyn Manson was the judge.
He himself dismissed the suit.
Like that would be his like comeback tour. Like he goes to the law school and then becomes a judge in his old age. It says a judge has dismissed a case for Marilyn Manson's former assistant who accused the embattled musician of sexual assault, battery, and harassment. In an order of dismissal obtained by USA Today, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Michael L. Stern on Wednesday dismissed Ashley Walters' entire action against the musician, which alleged that Manson, whose real name is Brian Warner, used his position of power, celebrity, and connections to exploit and victimize her during her employment from August of 2010 to October of 2011. In the dismissal, Stern dismissed the case with prejudice, which means that Walters will not be able to file the same claims in the Los Angeles Superior Court again. Stern said that Walters had too few facts and pleaded too late, according to reports from CBS and Deadline. We are deeply disappointed in the court's decision today. If allowed to stand, this decision would drastically limit the ability of victims of abuse to obtain justice through the legal system, Walters' lawyers told USA Today in a statement on Thursday, adding that the court based its decision on the timeliness of Ashley's claims and not the merits.
Well,
so
they did say too few facts.
Yes, so
that was a factor.
And it's like the lawyer in Amber Heard's trial. Hearsay. Like if you can't actually prove, what's going on, how do you actually get, move ahead at trial? And I imagine that a lot of these things are like, it ends up becoming about civil suits later, right? Like there's a lower threshold for proof in a civil suit than there is in a criminal trial. So
he's engaged in a lawsuit with his ex, Evan Rachel Wood, who also made allegations of like sexual battery, domestic violence, things like that.
And there was a documentary that she made that she had produced.
And is he suing her for defamation?
No, I don't see anything about him, about his countersuits. So it says, Walters originally filed her complaint in May 2021 with details accusing Manson of treating her like property, adding that he repeatedly offered Walters up to his influential industry friends and associates, giving his friends permission to grope, kiss, and have her. So that is like the most disgusting Hollywood thing I've ever heard. Like that's exactly the type of thing you expect from people in the entertainment industry, especially someone of his stature. So do I believe that absolutely happened? Yeah.
Personally?
Probably. Yeah, I do. But do I feel like there's that an injustice is being done on the legal side here? I'm guessing that it's on the legal side, probably not, but on the moral side, absolutely, probably, yeah. But it says, at the Spike TV Scream Awards in September of 2010, Walters alleged that Manson pushed her onto the lap of an actor who proceeded to kiss Walters and keep her on his lap, according to a suit. A month later, Warner offered her up to a director who groped Walters, cornered her, and shoved her hand up her skirt while covering her mouth so that his date could not hear. These are the people that are lecturing you about morals. Remember that every time they're like...
Marilyn Manson especially. He is so condescending and preachy.
Really?
For someone who pretends to be about, like...
Is he really? I don't know much about his...
From what I have seen.
Okay.
For someone who, like, pretends to be about, like, free expression and, like... he just pretends to be, like, the most... intellectually honest person ever. He's so like this is just the epitome of like the people preaching at the choir. Like
I don't know a ton about Marilyn Manson, but I did read a fair amount of the stuff about Evan Rachel Wood, and then I looked it up. He did sue her for defamation, and I haven't been able to see like where that case has progressed. But I feel like he is this weirdly, openly horrible person, but because he has this like weird semi-gender fluid aesthetic.
This image like, from the 90s
people
where
are
he
like,
was like subversive and cool.
Yeah, and so people are like, oh, that's just what he does, crazy old Marilyn. And it's like, no, you should like look, especially like he is a walking red flag, and I like am not against like, a more dark gothy aesthetic, but like he is weird, and he's been openly weird for years, and yet we're like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? It turns out in private he's worse. It turns out when he's alone and making decisions, he is way, way worse of a person.
It is kind of funny to think, not funny, but like imagine like something awful didn't happen, but you just have a bad relationship with somebody like that looks like Marilyn Manson, and then your mom's like, well, who was this guy? And she shows you a picture of Marilyn Manson. You're like, gee, I wonder where the red flags should have come in there.
But it was like in his lyrics, from what I remember reading about. Like it's not a secret. Like it's beyond just like, don't judge a book by the cover, except for this book, because like pass.
Does stuff like this affect your ability to like watch or listen to artists?
I don't like to support artists who I like. I don't like to, if I can avoid financially supporting artists or companies that like directly interfere with my values, I try to.
Like streaming music from somebody.
Or like I wouldn't buy a Marilyn Manson album even if I was
but nobody buys albums anymore. Would you
Or,
ever
like,
stream him, or would you like on principle never stream him?
I was never interested in him in the first place, to be fair, so it's easier for me to say, but like no, I wouldn't do it. I like, and again, it really depends. Like I do like to live, I think Me Too had this double-edged sword of like being important in very few cases, and for a lot of people being extremely damaging, and teaching us that like we have to be careful. We cannot convict people in the court of public opinion alone.
I'm having a hard time with that here, because that is a strong belief of mine, but it's also one of these things where when we discuss it, I can only go by what we're talking about here, but I do, I don't want to.
But it's getting challenged when you literally can't get justice.
But, or there's no facts to be had.
Well,
there's
certain
just
situations you cannot proceed legally.
Like the thing is, we will never be able. There may be no legal conclusion for this, but from the things that I know about like his art in particular, I just don't want to consume it.
Yeah.
And so like that's enough for me to say that like I'm not interested. If that coincides with like avoiding someone who is maybe violent and has other negative connotations, that works for me. But again, I like try to walk the line between not convicting someone on something that's not clear.
Yeah, exactly.
But also like I don't want to turn a blind eye to something that I know is like ultimately wrong or not in a value system that I support. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I only mentioned it because I like literally heard like when I was like preparing the show today, the song "Killing Strangers" by Marilyn Manson came on, and thank you. There's a delay today.
Yeah,
there's a delay today, so be aware if you do super chat, it will
just do
come.
it again. Do it a couple times.
Yeah, just to make sure.
Goes through.
Just double check.
Wink, wink.
Just to be sure. And then like whenever I read articles like this, the ones that do have comments, I tend to go through the comments just to get a gauge for what the public is saying, especially in a site like Yahoo, which I don't know if it's like
people go hard in the Yahoo comments.
I'm saying like
Yahoo
if it's
was like an early adopter, I feel like, of like can you remember that Yahoo Ask and you could like talk about things? It was like what I think of Reddit as now.
I say that
I feel like they were pro comments before anyone else thought about it.
And I say that because like if I'm on like Hollywood Reporter or like if I'm on like AV Club or any of these other ones, I know which way the comments are going to go, and they're going to be all the way. These are like the first one says go for justice when it happens. Why wait 10 years? Me Too would be a lot more believable if the victims didn't wait over a decade to come forward. It would be a lot easier to remember details when they're recent. And it's like one of those things. Like I'm not passing judgment either way. I'm saying that's where the public opinion seems to be going from a lot of people who just don't have the they're not going to look at it maybe analytically. They're just going to ask that one question and move on.
Yeah.
So.
I think the question of like why do victims not come forward right away is really hard to answer.
Yeah.
Because like you wish they could, and on the other hand, like we don't know the details. Like if this girl has an NDA with Marilyn Manson, right? And it like she has to find a lawyer, which costs money to get her out of the NDA to then talk about this. Like I think
that's not even to mention the fact that it's just like reprocessing what you went through to tell other people about it.
Yeah. And also like at what point, like if something bad happens to you, not everyone wants to then seek justice right away. Some people just want to pretend it didn't happen.
Yep.
Which like takes time to get over if you're gonna try and get any kind of damages from someone.
And you do have to keep in mind that there are going to be people in an age where victimhood is treated like a sense of like a form of currency that will come forward and twist stories to fit
For
a
sure,
narrative.
for
Like,
sure.
so how do you like? I refuse to pick either side as good or bad. I need to analyze these on a case by case basis, and even then I have a hard time passing judgment because I wasn't there, and all of this boils down to unprovable facts that we're just not going to be able to know without having been there, and we weren't there.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
It's my fence sitting take on this. But with their super chats, there was at least one or two.
Yes. Waffle Sensei says, Amber Claire, your full name is beautiful. Don't listen to the haters.
Oh my gosh, Waffle Sensei, I'm so glad you're here today.
Did you like that? Amber Claire kind of has a ring to it.
It does.
I've known a couple. Yeah, Amber Claire's not a bad name. I knew someone was Emma Claire.
It's nice.
Like her parents knew my parents, and then they're like, "Oh, that double name thing's really working."
Amber Claire, I like it.
I actually love double-barreled names. We just don't live in a society that really has space for them on any bureaucratic form.
And that is a problem. One more.
Alexandria Oakley says, Marilyn Manson has allegations in the past, too. Is he becoming the new Michael Jackson for allegations?
Interesting.
What exactly would that mean, though?
If you want to see an interesting take on this, the YouTuber Razorfist has a series of videos in the past about the Michael Jackson allegations that I highly recommend.
But he totally, like, dogmatically is pro Michael Jackson.
I'm just saying, if you're looking for the
Whatever.
opposite perspective from what the media was saying for a long
Sure.
time, he's an interesting one to take a look at. Is it you've seen those?
I know
Yeah.
Razorfist.
Yeah.
I know of his dogmatic support for Michael Jackson, and I think it's stupid.
It's weird because it's not like Michael Jackson's like not allowed to be in the public. He's not like canceled in public.
He's dead.
But
and
I'm saying,
he
like,
died before
but his
any of
mu-
this cancellation stuff even came to be.
But his music is still supported and
Yeah.
played and stuff like that. And a lot of times they won't even do that now. Like
Really?
with people. No, I'm saying with people that are not him, but I'm saying in
Yeah.
general with people.
Yeah, because I think that was kind of a wash. Like, people were so divided on it that
Yep.
there was no shared conclusion.
It's very hard to get a shared conclusion on any of this. That's the problem. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.